So this week, I'm super excited to be talking with Caileigh Hynes, who is at the Book Pair on Instagram or Bookstagram, whatever you want to call it. So welcome to Bookwild, Caileigh.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. I love these like random ways you get connected to people, but I listened to you. You were the episode on Thrillers by the Book Club like the week before mine. And so then I started following you through that. And then we've just kind of like interacted a little bit. And I was like, hey, how about you come on? Because I just love talking to Bookstagrammers.
And Steph, I have followed her since I first started my Bookstagram, like back
Oh,
in
nice.
2022. She's one of the first accounts I followed. So,
Oh, that is so cool.
yeah.
It's just all interconnected.
Yeah.
Yeah. So were you always a reader, or when did that start for you?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of has always read, especially in middle school and high school is when I really started to get into it. And I was also one of those like sad children who like to read like the historical fiction books about like Dear Diary, I think they were called.
Dear America. Yeah.
Yeah. So I read all those. So I started really by historical fiction, and I was really into historical fiction for a long time. And then, yeah, I kind of just have always read.
Yeah.
Abby.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I was always reading as a kid too. And then I don't know what I would even say. Like it was just all kinds of different genres or like whatever you end up having access to as a kid. And then I've said it before, but I read Gone Girl and The Kind Worth Killing when I was in college. And I was like, oh, thrillers are where it's at.
I can't remember the first thriller I ever read, but I think it was probably one of those, like Gone Girl. Then I started reading Karen Slaughter, and it all went out the window. I was like, this is what I want to be reading. I just love her.
Like anytime I go like deep into my read shelf on Goodreads, I always get to the point where I'm like, oh, that's where I found Karen Slaughter, because it's just like 13 of her books in a row.
I think it's Shari LaPena. Like I read all of her books in a row. I was like, why did I do that?
Yes. Yeah, I love hers too. She's so cool. I need to read her. I just like didn't see I didn't see anything about it until it was out, so I like missed it on NetGalley. So I need to read that one. People seem to love it.
I think it's a little different than her normal stuff too. That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah. Gare read it. And he was like obsessed with it. Like he was like, you have to read this. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, I have so many September books to read.
Me too. Yeah, July and August are huge pub months. Like
yes,
comes out in those 2 months over the summer. So I've been like in arcs.
Yeah, July was insane. I read so many, like, because I'm typically reading like a month ahead in terms of like NetGalley at least. And so I read so many books in June, and I was like, I love all of these. I want to talk to all of them. So I just interviewed so many authors in July.
So do you interview a lot of authors? Is that where this
yeah, so that is where it started. So like 4 years ago, I was like, basically for work, my husband and I like help people with social media, but we also produce podcasts for people. And it was like, it just kind of got to a point where it was like, why am I not used? Like I have the equipment for this. Like I love to talk about books. Why don't I see if authors would talk with me? And so, I reached out to like 6 of them, and like 5 of them responded. And I was like, okay, I guess I've got to start this now. So that was Between the Lines started then. And then as I just like was on Bookstagram longer, basically, I was making more friends, and Gare and I were talking more. And so then we got to a point where I was like, what if we did like a buddy podcast too? Like where it's just like fun and friendly and just talking about books. Then we started Killing the Tea 2.5 years ago, I think.
Okay.
And then he had some health stuff come up at the beginning of this year, so it's been hard for him to commit to an episode every week.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, can I merge these two together? Because I was really still enjoying talking with authors and talking with like Bookstagrammers and just having like fun episodes too. Not that the episodes with authors aren't fun, but
sometimes, yeah.
yeah, just like chatty conversational ones. So then I just merged it together into Bookwild.
Yeah.
Because my maiden name used to be Buckner, and so my husband calls me Buckwild and has for a really long time. And so then when I started like going so crazy with reading, he was like, Bookwild is what you really are. So we just merged it together.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. What about you? Like, what was your journey to starting your Bookstagram?
So I started it well, I signed up for an account in 2021, but then I like was not brave enough to post until
Oh
2022.
yeah.
So I like had the account for a while. Then I was like, okay, just post one picture, see how it feels. And then
Yeah.
it started to get fun. But
Mm-hmm.
I started because I was in like kind of like another niche community, the baby loss community. So
Oh,
I used to draw art, like grief and loss art. Uh,
wow.
and then one of my good friends who lost her son, she also was on Bookstagram. And I was like, okay, I love to read. Like she's doing both.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do both. So I started to kind of need a break from the grief and loss stuff. So then I kind of transitioned onto Bookstagram and started
Yeah.
really getting into that. So it's been kind of
That's,
like escapism a little bit for me.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it is. Like, I think we all know it kind of is, like, just reading all the time and escaping reality. Yeah, and so your approach is I don't know if you can hear my dog or not. Can you hear? Okay, she's
Yeah.
Harley. You're okay, baby girl. You're okay.
Excuse me.
She just wants to bake in the sun. Like, it's like 95 here right now, and I'm like, you don't want to go outside, but she thinks she does.
Like I really
Oh,
do.
and here's the other one. Well, we're just gonna have some furry co-hosts.
Your dog's name is Bruce, right?
Yeah, I have. This is
His name is
Bruce
Bruce.
just appeared.
Yeah.
Your cat is?
Yeah, his name is Bruce too.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
In one of your stories, I was like, "Hey, she has a Bruce."
Yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we still are into superhero stuff, but when we got them, we were really into it. So we have Bruce Wayne, and then that's
that's
Harley
what we
Quinn.
named our Bruce after. So if
Oh
you
my gosh.
look at him, his markings are so weird. His whole gray
Uh-huh.
part is up here, so it looks like he's wearing this
Oh,
superhero mask.
oh
The
my gosh.
yeah, so that's why we named him Bruce Wayne. That's really,
That is adorable. I've never met anyone who also named their pet that way. Oh,
that's
that's so cool.
and then Millie is just Millie because she was
Yeah,
a little girl.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
That's oh my gosh, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Your approach is kind of like bite-sized book reviews. Is that kind of just what you wanted to do from the beginning?
It's not how I started. I started, I think, with like the longer form book reviews, but then it was starting to like stress me out a little bit. So I
Yeah,
decided like most people probably are seeking out like little snippets, like to figure out if they would vibe with a book. So I was like, let me just try
yeah,
to break it down into a couple sentences and see if like it's less stressful to post more reviews that way.
yeah.
So far it is, but sometimes I still find myself being like a little long-winded when I really love a
I
book.
know.
Um, yeah, but I
Yeah,
think
sometimes I can't. Sometimes I'm like, it goes both ways for me.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm like, let me try and make it really short. And then trying to make it really short is what takes me longer because like otherwise I would just like type about it forever. And then other times it's like writing a long one is what's harder. So it just depends.
yeah.
Yeah. So what I see you have a pear behind you on your bookshelf. Do you love pears? Where'd the pear come from?
So going back to my baby loss account, I lost my daughter Ella in
Oh my
2019,
god.
and
I'm
so I was 37 weeks pregnant with her. And my one
sorry.
pregnancy craving was pears. I'm like, I never eat pears. I don't like pears, but like I ate hundreds of
Oh
pears.
wow.
So it kind of became like her little symbol.
Oh,
And then my best friend Ashley got me a set of pear. What can I think of?
bookends.
Bookends. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, you know what? That would be a really fun name, like the book.
Yeah.
And it kind of sounds like book fair, which is kind of
Yeah.
adult bookstagram kind of feels like.
No, you're right. It is kind of like, look at this book, look at this book. Yeah. So that I mean that's really cool.
Yeah,
That you can kind of honor her, remember her that way too.
because I was moving away from kind of the grief and loss stuff because it was becoming
Yeah.
too heavy for me, but I still wanted
Hmm.
to like make her part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, I think it said you mainly read thrillers. You read some romance too. Are those the
Sometimes,
main genres?
yeah, when I need like a good palate cleanser, like right now,
Yeah.
I think I'm in need because I've read like 12 or 13 thrillers in a row.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes I just need something different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll read romance. It's not my favorite genre. But then my other favorite is historical fiction, and that
Yeah.
really pretty sad. so
I know.
so it's kind of hard to use it as a palate cleanser.
I know. I was just talking to my sister-in-law said she had like a long phase where she was mostly reading historical
Yeah.
fiction, but it was like all like during wars. And she was like, I need to stop reading this. I'm like depressed. I'm having dreams about being in war. Like,
I felt the same. Like I was like, how many more World War II in London books can
yeah,
I read before like I can't stop thinking about it? Yeah.
I know. They just tend to be so heavy. I feel like
Yeah.
there are just not many historical fiction where you're like, it's fun.
No.
Yeah, yeah. It is I every now and then like I wouldn't say that I like read it as a genre, but like at the same time, I feel like every year lately there are like two or three that like stand out to me that I end up reading.
Yeah. Oh, I
Like
saw
I guess yeah,
we're
go ahead.
gonna interview Marjan Kamali, and
Yeah.
I have read The Lion Women of Tehran.
Oh my gosh.
The
Wasn't
other
that
book,
fantastic?
so good, and the stationery shop is amazing. Also,
I know. I'm thinking I need to read that one too.
yeah, I read that one last year, I think, and then I was lucky enough to get an ARC for The Lion Women,
Yeah,
and I was yes, I love
that's
her.
what happened for me. Yeah, I got like her publicist reached out with like a bunch of books that were coming out then. I loved it though. It is so heavy, but it was so thought provoking and like I was so attached. I love Homa so much.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I love her so much. I'm
yeah.
never gonna forget her. Yeah, I'm excited we had some rescheduling come up, but I'm super excited to talk to her about it.
Okay.
Especially just because like a lot of it came from like her
Actual
experiences too.
experiences. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So that one will be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what was I gonna say? There was something that kind of came to mind. I don't know. Maybe there wasn't. Maybe I thought there was. Do you have any favorite thriller or romance tropes?
So I don't know if it's a trope. It might just be like a subgenre, but I
Yeah.
love crime fiction. Like if
Yeah.
I can get a good thriller and crime fiction mix, that's like
Mhm.
spot where there's like a detective
Yeah.
in a thriller. And then for
Yeah.
romance, I don't really know. I haven't read enough of the genre, I think, to like pick a favorite trope.
Mhm.
Like, I thought I liked second chance romance, but then I read some and I'm like, why would you give him a second chance?
Yes.
I don't know. I think I need to like explore a little bit more.
That's sometimes my hang up with romance where I'm like, why would you do that though? Or
Yeah.
like, why are you talking to this person?
It doesn't deserve your time, actually.
I know. I know. Did you read or watch Tell Me Lies?
No. Oh,
Okay. Well, it's,
Carla Lovering.
yes.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't read it
Yeah.
yet, but I think I have.
It's the first season came out last year and I remember just like thinking like, I don't know, like we'll see.
Yeah.
And I was so addicted to it. Like I was burning through it last year and the second season is about to air.
Yeah.
So I've kind of like had it on in the background when I'm like cleaning or whatever just to
Yeah.
like kind of catch up again. And it is such a guilty pleasure. Like it is
She
peak
writes.
guilty pleasure TV.
She writes romantic suspense, right? Or is it
Yes.
kind of okay?
Yeah. And I would say this is like, I
This
mean, this it definitely qualifies for dark academia. Like almost all of it's taking place on a college campus.
yeah.
And then there is all of the like romantic, not even romantic, like some of it is so toxic, I wouldn't call it romantic, but all of the like interpersonal relationships of this friend group and like a student dies. So it kind of has like, it has the suspense elements, it has some of the romance, even though I wouldn't say this is like traditional romance. It
Little
is
drama.
so addictive.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
addictive.
We'll have to look into that because I'm always looking for shows Like I
Yeah.
was reading Criminal Minds from the beginning for the first
Oh,
time.
yeah.
And I'm almost done with it, I think. I mean, I'm on season 13,
I
so
know, there's so many seasons.
yeah.
Yeah, that one is so good.
Mhm.
Harley. Oh my
Harley.
goodness. Do you have any auto-buy authors that come to mind?
Yeah, so many. I feel like Mary Kubica,
Yes.
love her. Simone St. James,
Mm-hmm.
Karen Slaughter. I'm
Yeah.
not that deep into the Will Trent series, but I have
Mm-hmm.
of them. I just need to read them. Uh,
Yeah.
who else? I'm looking. The Nadine Matheson, the Jigsaw
Oh
Man.
yeah, I need to pick some of hers up.
Okay, I love that series. I'm reading the third one right now. It just came out, The Kill List.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really, if you like serial killer thrillers, I feel like.
I do.
Riley Sager is another one.
Yes. Yep.
I got to go to a book event with him in
Oh,
Maryland.
that's so cool.
It was really cool. He's very funny.
Yeah, yeah,
And I love his books are like kind of campy, kind of fun.
they are. I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of his The Last Time I Lied was one of those like early books I read as a thriller reader, and I was like, this is just so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really fun.
Yeah, I will always remember those.
Do you have autobiographies?
Well, what mine?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel like the crazy thing is like I feel like the longer you read, the more your list grows. And then I'm like, how am I gonna keep up reading like all of these authors that I love lately?
When they're all doing
Um
a book a year.
yeah, exactly. So Ashley Winstead, I can't
Oh,
help
yeah.
talking about her every episode.
I'm missing one of her rom-coms, I think. The Boyfriend Candidate.
Yeah.
Read that one?
Yeah, I think that was the second one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that she can write both. Obviously, I'm bigger on the thrillers, but she did convince me to write. I mean, not like she was DMing me, but like because I like her, I did read 2 rom-coms basically. So I love hers. Ava Glass would be one that comes to mind too. She has a spy series.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have Alias Emma maybe?
Emma.
Well,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I loved that one so much, and I just finished the third one in the series. Comes out I think September 3rd, really soon. So I read that a couple weeks ago. I just love it. It's like she gets all kinds of reviews like saying that like this is like basically a female James Bond, and I couldn't agree more. Like it is so fun. So she's definitely one. And then Yasmin Ongo is another one. Same thing. She had a spy trilogy that I was obsessed with.
Yeah.
And it wrapped up. It was just 3, but it's the Nina Knight series.
Mm-hmm.
So I love all of hers. There's so many. Audra McLeay, I just actually recorded with her 2 days ago for her 3rd book as well. And she's like been on 3 years in a row now too. So it's kind of cool, like the relationships where like the authors are even like on the podcast each year. It's kind of fun to talk with them.
So you get to talk to them like through their debut.
Yeah.
Career is progressing. That is really cool.
Yeah. Jamie Lynn Hendricks is another one like that where like Ashley Winstead actually connected me to her because their debuts were the same year actually.
Yeah.
So they connected me. So it's just cool. Like the longer you're, as you probably know too, like the longer you're on Bookstagram, it's just like you have different connections to authors and readers.
Yeah.
I hope you're enjoying this episode of Bookwild. And if you are, could I ask you a favor? Could you go and rate and review this podcast on whatever platform you're listening? Ratings and reviews make the biggest difference in discoverability of the podcast, and I definitely want to find all of our fellow thriller readers out there. So if you could go rate the podcast and leave a short review, that would make a huge difference. Thank you, and let's get back to the show. So I did want to know what 5 of your favorite reads so far this year are. So do you have some?
So many good ones. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So do you want me to show them or just talk about them?
Yeah, you can.
Have a little basket here.
I love it.
I have a focus basket where I like throw 5 books I want to focus on in a month, and I try to stick to it because otherwise I get overwhelmed.
I like that.
Yeah. So my first one I feel like is very popular. It's Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Jones. It's kind of like Strangers on a Train type dealio.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he does it in such a unique way that
Mm-hmm.
it's so like twisty and insane. Um,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and it also had multiple POVs with like one of them was a crime investigator, so it was kind of
Yeah.
like crime fiction vibe.
Oh, very much. Yeah. What I have always said about that one is it's the most unique take on
Yes,
Strangers on a Train that I've read in a long time. Like it's so unique.
and I've never read Strangers on a Train, the
Yeah.
original, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like when you read the thriller genre for a while, you see that a lot. Like
Yes.
Hitchcock, it's Strangers on a Train. I was like, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I've never seen the original.
Yeah.
Okay, and then number 2 is The Return of Ellie Black
Oh
by
my
me.
gosh, I have to read that.
You have to read this. Okay, I bought this on an airplane, not on an airplane, in an airport, and I
Yeah.
read it on the plane, and I think I finished the whole thing, and it was a short, like 2.5 hour flight. So
Wow.
I was
Are
like,
you a speed reader?
I what? A
Are you
fast
a speed reader?
kinda, but not in the way where I can like skip words and put stuff together. Like I
Right.
like read each word because I've
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
all you do is like make inferences in your head. I was like, I cannot do that. Like,
No. Yeah. Yeah. I can't either. That's fast though.
yeah, it was really fast, but I think it's because it was just so good. And it's
Yeah. No
but
one
this,
can interrupt you on a plane, I guess, too.
I was trapped on a plane with my sister, and not that I mean she's a great conversationalist, but
Right.
we're both reading our own books.
Yeah.
So this one was pretty dark. And
Yeah.
well, and it kind of gave me Karen Slaughter vibes, except it like wasn't as gruesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's probably a good like starter thriller.
Yeah.
People like want to get into it, where it's dark enough where I think it's, and I like dark, so like I
Yes.
prefer to read like a really dark thriller, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's like so dark that it's like off-putting for new thriller readers.
Right. Yeah.
Another
Starter
detective,
thrillers.
I think there's a
Yeah.
detective in here too. And her sister had also gone missing, so she was dealing with like her own past traumas. And I really
Yeah.
like that dynamic.
Yeah.
And then
I've got to sneak that one in.
Look Closer. I was late on this one.
One of my all-time faves. Yep.
I think this might be my favorite book.
I think about it a lot.
I think about it all the time. And I think it starts on Halloween, right? So I think people should
Yeah.
add Look Closer to your Halloween TBR, because I think
Yes.
it starts on Halloween. People are in costume, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so this one is like my ultimate suspense thriller. Like it's domestic suspense,
Mm-hmm.
like a little scandalous at times, very twisted. Like I didn't see anything coming.
Right.
Like
I
once
know.
you think you know something, it's wrong. So,
I know.
I'm
And I
like,
think it's like 4 POVs. I think we're in 4 different POVs. And I remember like telling my husband when I finished it, I was like, I just want to be able to think of a story that complex and manage that many characters someday.
and I just read his new one too. Was it
Yes.
Best
The
Lies?
lies I tell.
I think Best Lies.
No,
Something.
you're right. It's not the lies I tell.
I'm sure.
So many books with lie in it.
That one was good too. A little different because it was more like mobster style, like FBI
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
Still very good and layered.
Yeah.
Like he has to be so smart
I
to
know.
like, plot that out the way he does.
Yes.
So much thinking, and I'm not.
Yeah. And so many points of view. And then he uses it so well to misdirect you. Like you're with
Yes.
someone and then the best of lies. That's what it was. Then
Okay.
you're like in someone else's POV and you're like, wait a second. But I didn't figure that out in the other POV. He's so
Yeah.
good at using that.
Yeah. It's like red herrings that don't make
Yeah.
you mad, but they like blow your mind.
They do. They do.
Okay. And then I also She's Not Sorry.
Yes.
So good. So I haven't read a ton of Mary Kubica's. Like I've read Local Woman Missing.
Oh, I love that.
But this one was very unpredictable to me also.
Very.
And also I gasped at one particular part.
At like 60% or 70%, yeah.
I was like, no, what? Like, was very good. So 5 stars,
Yes.
making me gasp out loud because I didn't see any of that coming.
Yeah.
And then my final one is Murder Road.
I need to read that one still.
Hey, so this one kind of gives you, it's like spooky murder mystery set
Mm-hmm.
in the 90s. So you kind of get that grunge era of the 90s that I really loved. So it's
Yeah.
like a little nostalgic. And I don't even really like paranormal thrillers,
Mm-hmm.
but I like everything that Simone St. James writes. So,
Yeah.
like, not into paranormal, but I am into Simone St. James. So, Murder Road
Yeah.
for me was like, I've seen some mixed reviews, um,
Mm.
but I know, like, I was reading it at night and I was in like fight or flight mode the entire time. Yeah, I need to turn this off. Like, I can,
Oh my gosh, yes.
I have it on my Kindle because I think I got an arc of it before it came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I need to turn this off or I'm never going to sleep.
Right. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people say that too, where they're like, I don't read paranormal, but I love Simone St. James.
Yeah, the
So
way
he must have just enough.
he like mixes historical mystery,
Mm.
thrillery vibes so well.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I need to read more of hers. I just like it's just like every now and then you have a couple authors where you're like, I know the books are great. I just haven't gotten to all of them.
Start with, is it called The Sundown Motel? If you haven't read that one,
Yeah.
that's my
That
favorite.
is what a lot of people say to start
Yeah,
with.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
good. And then I think The Broken Girls and The Book of Cold Cases was also good.
Oh yeah, people talk about that one a lot too. And then there's like The Haunting of
Oh yeah, so
Maddie? Maddie? I
Claire
can't remember.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read her older ones because I know they're
Mhm.
all getting new covers, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
Because you could tell from the old covers it was like
Yep.
mostly historical mystery because it was like fair maidens on cliffs and stuff
Right.
being hunted by ghosts
I
and
know.
like a decrepit house. But now she's getting more of like new covers that are pretty exciting. So
Yeah.
hopefully more people
I
discover.
need to read them because I'm also like I'm discovering more this year. I read John Frame's No Road Home
I've
a
seen that
couple of
one.
months ago
Yeah.
and I really loved it. Like it's mostly just like a gothic thriller with
Okay.
kind of a family saga element to it. But it's like even he was saying like when he went to write it, he wasn't thinking like I'm gonna write a horror novel, but
Yeah.
like there is horror slash paranormal. It's
Mhm.
like maybe like 10 to 15%
Yeah.
that. And I really liked that amount of it. And then I just finished yesterday An Academy for Liars
Okay.
by Alexis Henderson. It comes out September 17th.
Yeah.
Um, and it was like dark academia with like dark psychological magic is like what they're learning.
Oh.
Or they call it like the art of persuasion or forcing your will onto people. It's called a lot of things throughout it.
Yeah.
But there's also like paranormal and horror elements to that. And I was just like, and time travel,
Yeah.
like so many things going on. And I was like, I was glued to this book. Like I was so sad because I was getting to like 80% and it was like 10 o'clock at night and I could just like feel my eyelids just like betraying me and trying to fall asleep. And I was like, no, I can just tell that everything's about to get insane. And
Mhm.
I still fell asleep. So then I had to finish it the next day. But
Yeah.
like, it's so cinematic too. I've warned people on my Instagram already that I'm not going to stop talking about this book for a while. But all of that to say, I'm like realizing like I think sometimes when like a paranormal explanation is used at the end of a book
Yeah.
that wasn't paranormal,
Mhm.
I had like disappointing experiences with that sometimes where you're like, oh, that's an easy way to explain it.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think I just never thought like, oh, that stuff is fun for me. But it's like I've read two of my favorite books this year had that in it. So I think I need to read more of it.
Ooh, yeah, I just read Do What Godmother Says by L.S.
Yeah.
That was kind of like a gothic thriller with like a little paranormal vibe. Uh,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed that one too. And it was
Yeah.
set
Steph really enjoyed that one too. Speaking of Steph
hardcore.
earlier.
Yeah, yep. I think I saw it through her account actually, and I was like, okay, cool.
Nice.
That's something I would read because
I
it's
know. I need to read that one. It
yeah.
sounds kind of because it's really gothic
Mm-hmm.
too, right? Like the
Set
setting, I think.
during the Harlem Renaissance, which is interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I need to read more of that. I think. who knows? I kind of am like, I also said that about action thrillers a couple of weeks ago. I was like, I've got to read more action thrillers, but I guess I'm just gonna always be like, I've got to read more of anything.
Period. I need to read more of everything.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like, I just love it all. If it's a thriller, is typically the main thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any books you're like looking forward to in the next couple months that you can think of?
Oh, well, there's a new Steve Kavanaugh coming out. It's
Oh,
called
really?
Witness 8, but I think it is actually part of a series, which I didn't realize, which always
Oh,
happens
yeah.
when I request something on NetGalley and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
congratulations, number 8 in the series. I'm like, no,
You're like, oh.
I guess I have some reading to do. But that one is supposed to be it's supposed to be good. It's getting pretty good reviews.
Yeah.
I believe it can be read as a standalone.
Nice.
So I'm excited about that one. There are a couple of books that I got from your podcast that I'm excited.
Oh, nice.
What is it called? The Hunter's Daughter is the one that I grabbed.
Yeah.
Your recommendation. I'm really excited to read
Yeah.
that. And then I think
That one is fantastic.
Another one.
So creepy.
I forget. It was maybe Gare's recommendation. It was Please See Us.
Yeah.
It sounded really
Caitlin
good.
Mullen.
Yeah, about missing women. I've never read that author, and it sounded
yeah. I can't believe I haven't read it yet because he's been like, not that this is what you were pointing out, but he's been saying that since like I think like our second episode together, how much he loves that book, and I still haven't read it. I'm like, how have I not read it?
Betraying your friendship.
I know.
There's a new. I'm currently reading The Puzzle Master by Danielle Rusoni, and I believe it's kind of like an action thriller. Where this man has like, it's not a superpower, but he's really good at puzzles. Like he has a traumatic brain injury, and he is trying to solve. There's this woman in jail, and he's trying to like, I guess, clear her name that she didn't actually
nice.
boyfriend. So I'm reading that, and then the second one from this series comes out soon. I think maybe in October.
Oh, it is a series. Nice.
I think so. Yeah.
I remember seeing the cover everywhere. I just never ended up picking it up.
Yeah. So far it's good. And
That's cool.
He has a wiener dog named Conundrum. And she goes by Connie. And we had a wiener dog. He passed away. Yeah. So I'm like, yes. I love it. Yeah.
That's adorable, though. Calling Conundrum Connie. I love that.
Yeah, so cute.
Yeah. That's so cool. Yeah, it sounds like you have tons of exciting ones to pick up.
Yes, for sure.
Which I guess is always the case.
Always the case. Like, and never not reading. Never not.
Yeah.
Reading. Yeah, always reading. Yeah.
I know. I wish I could just literally just monetize this enough to read all day long.
If I didn't have like a normal email factory job, like 9 to 5, then I would definitely like, can I work for publishing? I don't know. I think it's really fun to break into.
I know. I think it would be cool. I mean, I'm sure like all jobs, there's like some of the downsides.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it would be fun. I would think it would be fun at least. And you'd have access to even more books. Not that we need it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to. I need to read Please See Us. I need to read some Simone St. James.
Yes.
I just need to read, which is the conclusion of most of these podcasts.
Spooky season. I feel like Simone St. James.
Yeah.
The vibe.
Yeah.
That's
what I liked. This Dark Academia didn't feel like it was hot. It felt like it was cool most of the time, so I was a fan of it. I mean, they were in Savannah though, so it was kind of foggy actually. But like it was fall when she started school, I think. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna be telling everyone to read that for the next few weeks. An Academy for Liars. The cover is really cool, and I just saw because I followed the author on Instagram. I'm going to be interviewing her in October, but I followed her, and some of the printed copies have like, I don't know what that's called. I think it's like embossed, where it's like some of the background details are like kind of engraved into it, and it's like gold on black.
Nice.
Yeah. The cover is so pretty.
So is it not out yet? The one that
No, it comes out September 17th is when it comes out in the US. I think I saw there was a different UK date in her post, but yeah, that one comes out in September. And I think that's perfect release time for Dark Academia. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people want to read it in the fall. But yeah, it had so many elements in it, and it was so cinematic. Like I just saw everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, it was very actiony too. The other thing it was making me think, I'm assuming like I'm not like a hardcore Harry Potter fan, so like don't ask me any specific questions.
Yeah.
But I was also getting like a vibe from what I do know about it that it's kind of like that, except like adult and R rated is what I would say.
Okay. So it wasn't like not the X-Men kind of like
No, yeah, it is more magical. And I feel like, because it's like, I know I read one or two of the books eventually, because like at first, like my dad's a pastor and my family's very conservative, and so they were of the group of people that thought like you shouldn't read witchcraft. So I know I read it at some point later on in my life, but like I know like mind control or that kind of stuff was kind of a part of that in Harry Potter. So I think that's what was reminding me a little bit of it, where it's like a bunch of like it's not as, they're not as young, like they're like 24. I think the main character is 24 and the other characters are a little older, but it is like a bunch of young adults running around with magical powers and everything that can go wrong.
Are you one of those readers that can like see scenes in your head?
Yes. Are you? No. Oh my
I
God.
don't see anything.
Oh my gosh.
Like one of the
So I
ones
don't always have a rich, like if it's not really over describing it, but like I do. So you just
I
don't.
see nothing. And then I wonder like, why do I love reading? If other people
I
are
know,
in
it's
movies,
interesting.
like I don't know.
Yeah. So it's kind of just like, if someone tells you a story, do you see stuff? Oh,
No,
okay.
I'm like one of those people who really like the purple apple thing. I can't envision.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is so fascinating. Do you have, because the other question that I see related to that, do you have an inner monologue going? Like, no, okay. I feel like I've seen those in relation to each other.
Yeah.
So your mind's quiet sometimes.
Sometimes, but I do also have like generalized anxiety, so it's not that.
Okay, so you've got some.
But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is crazy.
Yeah.
But you obviously do still love reading.
You love it. Yeah, and I wonder like what the psychology is behind that. Like since I can't see anything.
I know, and like I wonder what it is like in brains where it's like different for people. Do you dream?
Sometimes I do dream because I did just have
Okay.
a weird dream about a giraffe. Like I was
A giraffe.
trying to take care of a baby giraffe, and like no one could tell me what to feed it. So,
Oh my gosh, that's
I do
fascinating.
remember that. Yeah.
I had a dream last night that I was like needing to pack everything up from an Airbnb.
Yeah.
And like then like the drive to wherever I was going was taking forever.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I also like don't leave my house very much. So it's not like I've like been so many places, but like in the dream it was like every few hours it was completely different terrain and like everything was just so different. I was like, man, I'm just so tired of driving. And then actually the dog who was joining the podcast a few minutes ago, she woke me up. She was like in my face. She was like, I was like, oh, okay. Thanks for waking me up. I guess I don't have to drive anymore. But yeah, dreams are so weird sometimes.
So weird.
Yeah. That is crazy though. I think you're the first person I've talked to who doesn't see it, because I've asked a couple of people recently.
Yeah. I don't know why. It's weird.
That's wild.
Yeah.
At least you can still enjoy it though, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to like Google more about the psychology behind that. Like why do you like it if you can't see anything? And other people are getting, full movie theater experiences.
Right. Yeah. 'Cause, like that's what I was thinking about with this and Academy for Liars. Like the last 20% was like, I think that'll be like singed in my brain. Like so many of the scenes are like stuck there. And I was even like the books I would have compared it to, I was like, oh yeah, these had very similar, like the end scenes were like so distinct in my mind. So that's like what ends up sticking with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fascinating.
That is
It's
cool.
crazy. Well, not everybody does. Now
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I love talking with you. I'm glad we got to connect.
You too.
You definitely convinced me to read some more Simone St. James. I need to.
For sure.
And then people, if they want to follow you, you're at the Book Pair on Instagram, and
Yeah.
that's your main place, right?
Yeah. Also,
Mm-hmm.
Goodreads and the Storygraph, all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, I will put those links in the show notes. What? Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
hey, make sure you also read The Broken Girls, because I just remembered that's dark academia. So that might
Oh,
be nice.
nice. Then
Yeah.
I really maybe I'll start with that one.
Yeah, I think you should.
Actually, I'm kind of in the mood now. Well, I will put the links to that in the show notes so people can follow you. And thanks so much for being on.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me.